I'm Ryan Milliken from Hardway Performance, and you're listening to the Diesel Power Podcast.
I'm Dimitri Miller with No Zone Diesel.
This is Anthony Reams from XDP.
Jaron Holder from Holderdown Performance.
I'm Corey Willis with PPEI.
I'm Drew with D&J Precision Machine.
I'm Pinky.
And you're listening to the Diesel Power Podcast.
Diesel Power Podcast.
And you're listening to the Diesel Power Podcast.
The one and only Diesel Power Podcast.
What is up, Diesel Nation? We have an awesome episode for you guys today, and it's being brought to you by BD Diesel. The BD Protect 68 kit for Dodge 68 RFE transmissions is a really cool product. What it does is it prevents clutch slippage by fixing an internal leak problem that happens when applied pressures go higher than stock. So this is a must for all performance-built 68 transmissions. BD's Protect 68 control module dynamically adjusts hydraulic pressures up to 250 psi based on turbo boost and engine load. The kit only takes 2 to 3 hours to install, and it comes with a custom valve body separator plate and gaskets that seal in the increased line pressure while stopping internal cross leaks. So guys, make sure and check out BD Diesel. Just go to dieselperformance.com, or you can call them at 800-887-5030. Ask them about the BD Protect 68 kit, what it can do for your transmission. And now we're going to get into the podcast today, and we've got Matt from Alligator Performance. Really excited to have you on. I want to talk to you about your truck, a bunch of different things. So welcome to the podcast, man.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, for sure.
Man, I'm a big fan of your truck. Like, I've been seeing it everywhere. I've seen it for years. It's kind of evolution and the way it's changed, and we wanted to talk to you today about it and kind of go through that process. You know, there's a lot of the guys out there that, are just starting out. Maybe not sure what direction they want to go with the truck. Maybe people in the same position as you, where you've changed it and the wheels and tires and performance and all that. And we just wanted to kind of pick your brain a little bit and learn more about the truck, where it was and where you've taken it.
Yeah, for sure. And I've had this truck now since, I bought it back in 2010, so it's been a solid 7-year build. And back when I started working at Alligator, I was hired on as a helping hand, and just to take basically phone call messages. I was not a diesel guru or anything like that. I drove a Hemi at the time, had a construction business, and so I bought that truck in 2010, about 6 months after starting here, and just kind of was starting to spitball a few parts on it. Decided to go ahead and make a goal of horsepower. Back in 2010. 600 horsepower was a pretty damn good number.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the goal was all right, we're going to go for 600 and everything and have a daily driven truck and still tow with it and have fun on the weekends and then roll around to a few local sled pull events and maybe hit the strip and then do any dyno event that comes around and so I ended up starting to build it a little bit. Did industrial silver 62 turbo, did their 90 horsepower injectors, just a bag of parts for the CP3, just a bolt-on AFE stage 2 intake, and then back then, tuning was pretty vast there. It wasn't quite as refined as EFI Live nowadays, so I ended up doing the notorious Smarty stack the edge use with attitude, and basically a few other little bolt-ons. I did some accessories, lift kit, wheels and tires, and head studs, a few things like that, and ended up rolling out just over 600 horsepower with that setup. And then all right, I should be happy with this, and it didn't last for more than a couple months, and it's all right, need another goal. So we bumped it up to 700 horsepower, and I swapped out turbos, did an industrial silver 64 turbo, upgraded to 180 horsepower injectors, did a dual CP3 kit just to get that extra fuel there. Did a Colt Stage 3 cam, 110-pound valve springs, BD intercooler, Snow Performance Stage 3, water meth kit. And then that was right when EFI Live came to the market, and I got with Calibrated, and they ended up tuning my truck, and we ended up pushing about mid-700s out of it. And kind of the same thing. Got tired of that horsepower and needed more, so bumped it up. The next goal was 800, and been working with ATS back, and I think that was back in 2014, about opening up the compound turbo line for the Cummins, because there just wasn't a whole lot. They offered the 3K, 4K, 5K as a single kit. And so got with Ryan Gelinas over there and Clint Cannon, and worked with them for almost a year on basically their compound kit line, on different ideas, a few conference calls about what would be a good combination, whether you do a wastegate with it, on the manifold, or what would be the best combination there. So after about a year of that, they end up flying up here with 3 different turbo kits, compound turbo kits, and installed it, made install instructions, took a bunch of pictures, and basically just went through the line trying out different turbo kits with different tuning, just to try to see what worked best, get horsepower numbers, get temperatures, go tow with it. It's just kind of a full meal package there, and we end up dynoing with the 3K, 5K compound kit. 821 horsepower is what we made out of that, and out of everything that we tried for turbo combination, that 3K, 5K was the best for towing, lowest temperatures. It spooled the quickest since it is a small set. It's like a 58 and a 71 mil charger, so they're definitely tiny. And then Bob Peterson from Calibrated, he ended up flying over just to live tune it on the dyno, just to see if there was something he was missing, or see what else we could push out of it. But 820 was about the safe zone. We could push more, but yeah, we kind of stuck with that. And so beyond that, I was like, all right, do I dare try to push this up to 1,000? Right now, it's reliable. Got a transmission that's working right now. That's always the breaking point on those 5.9s. That 48RE transmission is kind of weak until you actually really build it. And I had a billet input shaft and a billet out, and just to kind of rebuild on it. Nothing too fancy. And I think we went to ATS's Let It Roll event in 2015, and threw on the dyno there for their event, and being that mile high, I think I only dynoed like 750 out of it, and so it wasn't too impressive there. So didn't have a nitrous kit set up or anything, so I just grabbed a bottle from one of the guys and had one of the employees go ahead and spray just a ghetto fog at the truck, and made over 1,000 horsepower on that. So I was at that point just happy with it. I could drive it a long distance like that. I could tow. Temperature stayed nice, and then it was strong enough to be able to push 1,000 horsepower out of it and still walk away without limping away. So nowadays it's just a good solid towing truck. I tow just a 25-foot camper all around during, it's like a weekend warrior basically. Just almost every other weekend it seems like we're going up in the mountains and camping and shooting. So definitely like to have something reliable when you're 30 miles out in the mountains and don't have cell phone service. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like what's even crazy, thinking about it is, when we first start out, we think, I just want 6, I just want 7, I just want 8, but it can quickly go as far as somebody may want to take it.
Yeah, and then it seemed like once the turn of the industry, when you're talking about industrial and Sean Baca and Randy Reyes and Dimitri Millard and like Chris Ross, of all those guys started pushing the envelope, making that 1,600 horsepower, and I know Dimitri back in the day was going for that 2,000 horsepower range, and industrial, they started pushing the envelope as well with Brett Williams truck, and then Baca's truck. Now they're breaking that 2,000, trying to get to that 3,000 horsepower mark, and that's kind of where I draw the line. It's like that's great for those type of guys, but myself, I'll just go ahead and keep that 800 horsepower reliable daily driver tow truck, and something I don't have to worry about breaking everything all the time. I don't necessarily have bottomless pockets, so definitely don't want to break everything.
If your transmission has left you stranded, you need to check out BD's transmissions and torque converters. They're built for high torque and performance applications. They've got revised oil circuits, roller bearings that replace bushings, extra clutches and stronger internals, and a BD transmission can handle up to 300% more power and torque than a stock transmission. Each transmission comes with a heavy-duty transmission pan, and most applications come bundled with the BD Full Flow Filter Kit. Pair up the transmission with a BD torque converter, whose torque-multiplying cast aluminum stators lower RPM response for more efficient operation, less heat, and better fuel economy. And who doesn't want better fuel economy? BD converters feature stamped forged steel front covers, furnace-brazed fins, and up to triple the amount of lockup clutch material. Applications are available for everyday street, towing, and track applications. And BD makes their custom parts on site to control the quality and production to ensure that you have the best experience possible from a North American-made product. But I want to get back to something you said, Matt. You talked about shooting. When did you become passionate about shooting and firearms?
Yeah, it's kind of been just a full lifestyle, or something that I guess is a passion. But it was, when I was 3 years old, out at my great-grandparents' apple orchard in central Washington, out there giving me a quarter every robin I killed, in the cherry trees or apple trees. Every robin or bird or something like that out there, they'd give me a quarter or 50 cents to do that, and I would do that every single summer, growing up all the way until I was a teenager, and just kind of a little BB gun or 410 shotgun type of thing, and just as things grew and got in the high school time frame of your life, and just kind of started making money, having a real job type of thing, and instead of, I guess, spending money on whatever kids spend their money on, I was saving money for rifles and AR-15s and pistols and everything like that. So it was just kind of one of those, family definitely brought me into it early in the game, and it's something that stuck, that's for sure.
I started with my grandparents lived in Wyoming, and so I'd go up there in the summer and visit, and they had an old pellet gun. I don't know how old it was, but we would put like these coffee cans and stuff, and I would just plink, and I would do it for hours. And that's where I just like the challenge of it, and I didn't know how passionate I would become about it, but it was just so fun, like learning how to align the sights, and then not even being close to that coffee can, and just learning that process of how to line everything up, hearing that tink sound, and then stepping farther and farther back to see how far could you go before it was just too far.
Yeah, I try to get that precision down. I mean, we used to take shotgun shells, set them on cinder blocks out. It started out 20 yards and then 30 yards and everything with just a 22, shooting the primers out of the shotgun shell from 20, 30 yards out and everything. So you have your first initial pull the trigger, boom, and then the secondary shotgun blast because you're hitting the primer on that shotgun shell. Just little things like that. It's kind of like playing with fireworks or firecrackers or something like that. As a kid too, it's like, all right, well, lighting the match and hearing that pop is all fun, but I want something that goes in the air and makes some pretty sparkles and booms, and definitely it progresses as you go. I mean, starting with a BB gun and progressing to 22 or a little 410 shotgun was all nice and everything, but once I could actually start getting my hands onto definitely a more versatile platform like an AR-15, then that opens worlds, that's for sure.
Is that your favorite semi-automatic rifle?
I would have to say it's hard to beat. I mean, it's versatile. So you get something nowadays that I guess after this fresh Trump administration came in, being a Republican White House, it seemed like all the prices of AR-15 stuff dropped. Last administration it seemed like they were $600, $700, $800 for an AR-15. Now you can buy like a DPMS or a Smith AR-15 for $380, I want to say. So and following that, ammunition dropped. I mean, it was $250, I think, for 1,000 rounds for I think like 8-10 years ago, and then it went up there for quite some time, maybe like $500, and now it's back to that $300 range for 1,000 rounds. So it's getting reasonable again to be able to take a can of ammo out and plink around with some metal targets or some paper targets or whatever, and you could do anything from precision shooting hundreds of yards out with an AR-15, or you could just do some 30-yard drills, and definitely having the 30-round capacity there is nice.
They are. That's kind of one of the things too, where we talk about trucks and guns. Is like the AR-15 platform to me it's similar to what you can do with the truck. Like if you don't like the power, you can change it. If you don't like the way, the transmission shifts, you can change it. It's just like this endless thing that you can modify and alter. And I mean, I do have a few AR-15s, and I like them. They're fun. They're soft shooters. But I've always gravitated towards the AK platform, whether, like the AKM or the AK-74. I don't know why, but it's just... I'm a nerd with it. Like, I'm I'm really bad. And
I've seen a handful of your pictures out there popping around with the AKs, and I always thought that the AR would have been like, there's no other reason to go out anything but that AR platform until there's a local kid around here. One Sunday morning, woke up, it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, rolled over, grabbed my phone, jumped on Facebook, just started seeing what people were doing, and this kid jumped on there. This is back before the Facebook rules changed. You couldn't talk about firearms. But it talked about, he threw it up there, an AK-47 for sale for $250. And as soon as I saw that, I shot him a message. I'm like, dude, where are you at? I'm headed that way right now. I got cash in hand, and I'll figure this out. I'm on my way. So he was working a lumber shop and everything. So ended up going down there and waited in the parking lot for 2 hours before he could get on his lunch break to meet me out at his car to go ahead and pull that AK out so I could go ahead and purchase it. Everything else for an AK, I think, was $500-$600, and so for him to throw it out $250, like, yep, that's the deal. I don't even care what brand it is, I'm getting it. And I love that thing. It's definitely a great shooter. It can get really dirty, and you don't ever have to really clean. I mean, I usually take care of my gun, so I clean it quite often, but yeah, and then the ammunition was a lot cheaper. You're shooting steel casings versus, brass, and so you can buy 1,000 rounds for that for, $250.
yeah, I remember. I don't know why. I mean, it does certain things well. The precision part of it is not, say, on the level of an AR-15, but it's been around so long. There's a ton you can do to accessorize them. As far as like different furniture, there's the classic look, the more modern with the polymer stocks or side folding stocks and that kind of stuff. And when I knew I had an obsession with it, is I had this, it was an Arsenal SLR 104. And I knew I could put like just a red dot on it or something. And I had found this site that sold like Russian optics. They're for the civilian market, but this thing had to weigh like 2 pounds. It was ridiculously heavy. It was built like a tank. And I remember just going out and I just like the look of it. I don't know how practical. I mean, I wouldn't want to hike very far with something like that. I just took like, a 7-8 pound rifle and made it 10 pounds with an optic. But
yeah, that's kind of the AK world. It seems they don't really care about the weight. Like with mine, I swapped out the wood stuff and did all polymer folding stock furniture and everything. And but it's still heavy. Like the front rail is still aluminum that I have on it, but that's just a heavy gun. And then you flop over to the AR world, and it's all about getting it lighter and lighter. So doing a bunch of different billet pieces or polymer pieces, and then having it like a skeleton so you can see pretty much through the gun. I want to say it's F1, I think it's just F1 Firearms or F1 Tactical, like the full upper and lower and everything on the AR-15 is basically slit and see-through. You can see the bolt carrier group sliding through the upper and everything, and just to drop weight. So it's not too practical in my opinion.
What's also really different about the two different kind of communities or fans or loyalists of either platform is like the AR-15 world. People are very receptive to new things, to changes, new materials. But the AK world, it's like we're still stuck 50 years ago. If it's not a chrome lined barrel and it didn't come out of one of these 3 factories, or something, it's like there's resistance to that change, and I don't know. It's kind of cool to just be into guns in general and see, how this one platform, it's like, nope, you got to keep it. It has to be, well, I don't know if we can get Russian ones anymore here or what that's going to do, but, Russian, Bulgarian, Romanian, just different countries. And it's just like the Magpul stuff. It lightens up those rifles a lot. And, I like it. But just, browsing forums or different things, it's like some of the loyalists, the purists or traditionalists, I think is what they call themselves. They're like, no, it's got to be wood, it's got to be laminated furniture. It's just, they like to keep them, more in that original state. And it's crazy because you'd mentioned how things have changed, like politically and with the guns and everything is, the AK platform just dragged behind. There really wasn't anything new or cool. It was just the same old gun. Well, now there's a bunch of different triggers for them, bunch of different furniture options, bunch of different muzzle brakes. And I think it's been hard for these companies because people aren't panic buying now. I'm just like, oh, wait, I got plenty of time. And it's hopefully it just keeps moving forward and evolving, and cooler stuff is coming out, and new models, not just of rifles, but even pistols and, things like that. So hopefully they find a way to, keep innovating and bringing us new products.
Oh, and I'm sure they will. Just find that next niche in the market for these gun manufacturers is how they stay up on top. That's for sure. I'm kind of excited to see, and I got my doubts about it, but the direction that this possible Hearing Protection Act, is going to go. If you've read into that or heard a whole lot about that, with them taking to Congress here soon about allowing suppressors, just as a standard issue deal, as a serial number. You don't have to wait for, the 1 year, damn near a 1 year waiting period and tax stamps and all that stuff. You can just go into your local gun store. They do a background check on you. You go ahead and walk out the suppressor. And, that's definitely, I think, the next big push in the gun market. And I'm sure a bunch of new companies will arise out of that, just, pulling suppressors out their ass, just trying to sell it, it's gonna blow that market out. You're gonna go from, right now, suppressors are, $600, $700, $800 plus, for a general one. There's more expensive ones too. And as soon as, they buy it, they have to wait that year, and then they pay that $200 tax stamp. As soon as that becomes, a general thing, I can see the price of suppressors dropping down to, $400 pretty quick and easily. So I know that I have probably 4 or 5 guns in my safe that I just go out and buy suppressors, right away.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would too. I remember one time I was shooting and I had my hearing protection on, and it just shifted a little bit, so it wasn't covering like my full ear, my right side, and
right.
And I fire off a couple shots, and I'm like, why is my head hurting so bad? Well, it's so loud, like it's intense, and it's one of those no-brainers, I think, for me and a lot of us, is why, why not have them? Why not protect your hearing?
Right. Yeah, and I was watching a YouTube video, and I have no idea the brand of it, but this company, they built a suppressor, and they got into no hearing protection at all. Went into one of those steel Connex boxes, ship containers.
Yeah. And
guy steps about 5 feet in there, and talking to the camera, turns around and pops half dozen rounds out, and no hearing protection, didn't bother him at all. So I mean, it's noticeable. I mean, it's not like the movie show where it's just a sound of some moving air. I mean, you're still hearing a pop, you're still moving the action of the gun and everything, but it definitely makes it so you can shoot a rifle without blowing your eardrums out.
That's there's probably, well, there may be, some people out there that are listening that, are kind of interested or have a little bit of experience with firearms, and, we were just talking about the hearing aspect to it, and but having been around, guns for all your life and shooting them, what are some tips that you would tell someone who was new? Like, say they had never shot a firearm, a pistol or rifle, or they just had a little bit of experience that, with it, but wanted to learn more. What were some things that you picked up or, learned the hard way, whether it was, buying the most expensive gun or the least expensive gun, or, what kind of gear, do you need? How often should you go to the range? Things like that.
Right, for sure. Well, especially getting into it right off the bat, I'd recommend either finding somebody that is passionate in it and or at least knows some of the safety backgrounds, because I'm pretty big when it comes to safety with firearms. There's definitely no need to ever have a legitimate accident in that, and learn the safety side of things. Act like it's a loaded gun at every time. Just where that barrel is, having some trigger safety, making sure that you're not accidentally pulling a trigger, not knowing if there's anything in the chamber, and then beyond that, moving into something that isn't necessarily overly expensive. And that's one of the reasons why the AR platform, in my opinion, is nice, because, like I said, you could go ahead and pick up an AR-15 for $380, $400 now, and it's not going to break the pocket. You can go out and see if it's something you're into or something you like, and then you can take that stock platform and go ahead and start increasing the look of it, or increasing the performance of it. Get a different bolt carrier group that's coated and it's nicer. Get a better barrel. Change, instead of a polymer or plastic rail or anything like that. Get yourself a different flat topped upper, or different rail system, or different grip, something that fits your hand a little better. It can definitely open up into the AR platform a lot more than most firearms. Pistols are kind of the same way, but a lot of times, pistol out of the box, most guys just kind of keep it as is. Most of the time you use pistols just popping around, or sometimes an everyday carry or something if you have a concealed weapons permit. And I'd probably just stick with doing a rifle first.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I would say definitely it's more controllable. There's more points of contact that you have, and pistols take a really long time, or they did for me, to just, they're almost more personal in the sense of, like, and this is one of the mistakes I made, is I didn't do enough research. I may have talked with a few people, then I go into the gun store and I buy this gun because somebody liked it, this handgun, and then I find I don't like how it fits my hand, or there's just little small things that I didn't like with it, so then I end up taking it back, reselling it to them, losing money, and going and buying a different one. And you can waste a lot of money doing that, but there's so much information out there, like online and on videos, and even just hanging around like the gun store, or at the target or the shooting range, is people will offer you their insights, and just even testing them out. I'm not sure, I'm not sure how often I did this in the beginning, but once I lost some money, I'd go to the shooting range and you could rent handguns or rifles, but I'd rent handguns and try them. It's like $20 and a box of ammo versus $400, $500, $600. And that was, beyond the safety, but like beyond the responsibility and taking that on. That's absolutely the most important thing. But yeah, I'm right there with you. Beyond that, it's, just take it slow.
Yeah, seem a little, something that they usually feel, I wouldn't say the same across the board, but they have that same general style feel, something you shoulder. You have a long area where you can maneuver your hands to kind of fit to wherever you feel the gun feels right in your arms. Versus the pistol is more of, all right, the grip is this certain way, I got one point of contact, and you're basically kind of playing with the sights a little bit to see exactly how the sights are supposed to line up where you're hitting on paper. So it seemed like always with pistols, I would either have to handle a buddy's pistol first, or I have to know somebody I can at least grip it and go out to the range and shoot it for a bit, just to see if that was the right pistol for me. I know whenever I was looking for a new carry gun, because for quite some time I was just using a Kimber Pro Carry 2 1911, and it was a stainless steel on stainless steel deal. So it was a heavy gun, especially when you're throwing in 7-8 rounds of 45. It was a lot hanging on, a holster and on my pants. So I ended up looking at like a shield, a couple different Glocks, and had a few buddies that had just kind of a plethora of pistols. So went out and held a bunch of them, shot a couple of them, and decided that my new everyday carry gun was going to be a Glock 43, just a single stack 9mm. Not something that's going to be a battle style pistol by any means, but hopefully, if I'm an everyday carry gun, it's never going to have to turn into that. It's just more of a protection and a detour, an aggressive issue like that.
Yeah, that's one of those things, like, especially when it comes to like an everyday carry gun, it's a very different feeling from like a 1911 or say like a Glock 17 compared to a Glock 43 or a Shield or a Springfield XDS or something like that. And it's just that comfort level, and then getting proficient with it. It takes some time. Let's say on like a smaller gun, it's just going to fit different. It's going to recoil different. The trigger, it takes some time to get used to and stuff, and that's where
compact. It's way different from a full.
Yeah. I had a Springfield XDS, a 9mm, and I'd always before that had larger framed, like a Glock 19 or like the full size M&P, some of those, and then all of a sudden I have this small 9mm, and it's like this feels totally different with recoil. Like, it's not actually going to come out of my hand, but it feels like it is because it's such a different kind of impulse, recoil impulse.
Snap to it versus a full-size gun having that, or that full-size pistol having a little weight to it. It's a little slower snap back versus those little compact ones. They definitely have a snap to it.
Yeah, I see. You guys do a lot of shooting up there. I know. In Idaho, there's tons of places, outdoors and shooting ranges and stuff. So if I ever make it up that way, I'll have to take some guns and let you guys know when I'll be there, and you guys can show me the the good shooting spots up there. And
definitely a lot of good shooting spots, hunting spots. It's hard to beat good old North Idaho, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll definitely have to talk again. I definitely want to stay on that track and see kind of what the gun industry does in the market, how it kind of changes, especially with like even the Hearing Protection Act, but also products. And I know you and I could talk guns all day, but
all day.
But I don't get paid to talk guns because I'd probably do it. Yeah, man, it's really cool having you on. I love your truck, what you've done with it. Like you mentioned earlier with just the compound kits and the transmission and seeing it out there and just performing the way you want, and then being able to talk guns for a while and just BS about AKs and ARs and giving people some tips of don't waste all the money I did or
right, yeah.
Do all these different things that maybe helps the people out there.
Yeah, it could get expensive real quick, that's for sure.
Just like trucks, right?
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yep, gets real expensive.
Definitely, man. Well, we appreciate you being on and taking time out of your day and sharing some knowledge with us.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the invite, Patrick, and love to do this again.
We can't thank BD Diesel enough for making these episodes possible. If you're in the market for a built transmission, you need to check out BD's complete lineup for Ford, Dodge, and GM trucks. For towing, street, or strip use, they offer complete setups to make your truck perform how you want. Add a BD torque converter and get triple the amount of lockup clutch material, less heat, and better fuel economy. Go to dieselperformance.com or call BD at 800-887-5030. Until next time, Diesel fans, keep the shiny side up.